this week's episode of Attack on Titan Junior High, the annual cultural festival is here, which if you've ever watched an anime series before, this episode is going to look very familiar. However, this episode has a lot of funny elements going for it. If you ever wanted to see Armin in drag dressed as a bunny girl, this is the episode for you. I know that Armin kind of looks like a girl, he's basically a chick anyway, but did we have to dress him up in pantyhose and in frickin' bunny ears and make him a sexy mascot for Cheeseburgers? Saying all that in a sentence out loud really makes me realize how strange this episode of Attack on Titan Junior High is. But it's also an episode that many people should have seen coming a mile away. Considering that this is a junior high setting, it's a school setting for an anime, it's only a matter of time before we would actually get the cultural festival episode, which is very important to schools in Japan. Apparently, they always make them a really big deal in these type of shows. Basically, at cultural festivals, what happens is all of these students come together in their different classes and they perform plays, they have games, carnival games, they open up food stands. Basically, they just have a lot of fun and have a big festival, showing off like all of their teamwork from the different classes. And the main conflict of this episode is that Eren is going to be going up against Rico Brzezinska's group, who has their own food stand, and of course Eren, who's completely obsessed with cheeseburgers for some reason, decides they're going to open up a cheeseburger stand, they're going to make Armin the sexy mascot, and that's going to draw in all of their patrons. There's also a few other stories going on in this episode. There's a small classroom that's doing this event which involves a lot of cats. If you ever wanted to see Hitch trying to like love on cats, it's really funny because she's a very cat-like person herself, but all of the cats just completely dismiss her anyway. There's also a fantastic scene where Reiner is in this maid cafe, and he's just trying to eat this meal that was created by Krista, who, again, is just absolutely adorable in this episode. And what's really funny about it is he's trying to eat this thing called omelet rice, which is a very common dish in Japan, and they always top it with ketchup. And every single time he's about to eat it, Ymir will come over and completely ruin the meal by spraying it with all of these other sauces, which apparently are not all that great. Aside from the whole cheeseburger thing, though, my favorite subplot is that Jean and his group are actually performing the play Snow White. In particular, it looks like they're adapting the Disney version, so if you've ever seen that before, you're going to see all of these Attack on Titan characters, like, dressed up as all of these people, especially Jean, who seems to play all the female characters. He even plays Snow White herself, and just getting to see him dressed like that and kissing that weird Aaronized Titan dummy thing, that was just really strange. But the main plot of this episode, of course, involves Eren and his friends trying to compete with Rico But the bulk of the episode follows Eren and his group as they're competing with Rico Brzezinska in the cheeseburger stand. There's just way too many ridiculous moments from here to count, but I think one of my favorite was finally getting to see Mikasa go all SpongeBob on these cheeseburgers, where she ends up, like, making literally hundreds of them. That, and of course, just getting to see everyone's reaction to Armin. Some people are pretty enamored, some people are pretty damn creeped out. I think I'm in the creeped out club. All of these ridiculous junior high antics combined with the characters from Attack on Titan and inserting references to events in that series actually make this a pretty funny but very stereotypical episode. But it does end in a surprisingly hardcore way, with all of the Titans showing up, stealing their food, and then Eren screaming that he wants it back. It doesn't even really end on a joke, although I guess you could say it is a joke that the Titans just show up and steal all the food, but that's about it. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Attack on Titan Junior High? Armin in drag! That's really the only way I can describe this episode. It's so ridiculous and over the top. I didn't even mention the moments with Hanji Zoe and like constantly tickling Sonny and Bean. Apparently that's what's going on in her classroom. If you go to her class, you get to see her basically torturing the Titans by tickling them. It's a really strange scene, but you know what? Hanji Zoe's a pretty strange character. The best things about this episode, though, is that they take a lot of the intensity of Attack on Titan and they insert it into a cultural festival in a Japanese school, and that's really what makes this one really funny. You know, the only thing I have with this episode is that it's really stereotypical. They do this in so many different school anime series. I'm kind of wondering when the beach episode is going to pop up. You know it's gonna happen. On the technical side of things, just like the rest of the series, a very high energy, great artwork, lots of pretty decent animation, and great callbacks to Attack on Titan. The voice actors are also doing a fantastic job, a lot of the times playing it straight, as if they actually are like acting in a real episode of Attack on Titan. That actually amplifies the humor quite a bit. So this was another really funny, bombastic, slapsticky, awesome episode of Attack on Titan Junior High. Nothing revolutionary, but something that I think Attack on Titan fans are definitely going to love. There's lots of cameos from fan-favorite characters, and even characters who show up who probably aren't even going to be there until the second season of the show. I really couldn't tell you because I don't read the manga version, I'm just an anime fan, and that's why I'm enjoying this comedy version of Attack on Titan. So despite the fact that this episode was a little stereotypical, I actually found myself laughing quite a bit, so I'm going to give this week's episode a 4 out of 5. I thought it was really funny, and any fan of Attack on Titan should definitely check it out, especially all the Armin fans out there. It's pretty freaking weird. But if you did watch this week's episode of Attack on Titan Junior High, please tell me what you thought about it in the comments section below. Did you have a favorite scene from this episode, a favorite funny scene or character who showed up? What do you want to see from the rest of Attack on Titan Junior High? Make sure to tell me in the comments section below. Thank you guys for watching this review. Make sure to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!